now deal with championship pressure? How much of that are you feeling?
I don't know how I deal with it. I'm a little stressed, but we're hoping some cloud cover comes in. It's starting to right now before the first session. But, man, I mean, if it gets sunny out, the bump's a 92 right now. I mean, it's going to be tough. But if we get cloud cover, it could happen. How do you deal with it? I don't know. I mean, yeah, we should have done better in Indy. But we're right in the points hunt. And that's another thing with the whole thing last night was, look, we're right in the middle of a points championship. What if it rained today, which it was calling for rain? That would have made it worse. So I don't know how I deal with it, Gary.
We've got some heavy drama to be played out, and it'll start very shortly when Ron Capps and this team will make the pass that they hope will get them into the show and keep them in the thick of this championship chase. Marty?
Thanks, Gary, and glad that you're with us. Let's put this straight on the line. If they don't qualify in these 2 runs, their championship hopes are over. Flat.
Yeah, this would be huge for the team. And, you know, as a situation, obviously they were very upset, both Ed the Ace McCullough and Ron Capps last evening. They've calmed down a little bit, but you can tell they're still very upset about the decision not to let them run. You know, as a driver and a crew chief, I think you just got to focus that anger into going out there and doing the best job that you can. I've watched Ed McCullough many times back in the 70s and 80s. He's always been known for having that temper, and he's always been known to be able to channel that and going out there and kicking your butt on race day. The key, though, is going to be, like Ron said, with cloud cover. They need that cloud cover to really have a shot at not only trying to get in the top half of the field, but much less just trying to get into the show. So they're really going to be hoping for that. And, you know, if they can get that, they'll definitely have a shot at getting in the show today.
Before we get to Funny Car, of course, we've got Top Fuel. Let's get you caught up on what happened earlier in the sessions from yesterday. Session number 1. Morgan Lucas and Brandon Bernstein. Lucas over in the left lane. Remember the disaster they had at Indy. Never even got it fired after the starting line. Couldn't even do the burnout. 4.56 seconds, 322 for Morgan, a 461 for Brandon. And then in session number 2, it would be Tony Schumacher just drilling everybody. The only car to go into the 40s. 4.47 seconds at 323. Guess who's number 1 right now? We've got to take a commercial break. When we come back, we'll have qualifying session number 3 from right here at Maple Grove Raceway.
To find your closest dealer, visit Toyo.com.
And you're riding on board with David Grubnick as he pulls the laundry at the far end of Maple Grove Raceway here in Reading, Pennsylvania. The Xantrex 3 Top Fueler. Right now, David in the number 6 position. And as let's talk about what's happened during the break here in session number 3, because of points implication for Scott Wise. He's not qualified and still not qualified. Over in that left lane, he shuts it off very early. John Smith moves into a 4.61 elapsed time. That puts him number 12 in the order. But the reason the top 10 is important, because at the year-end awards ceremony, the top 10 get extra bonus cash, $15,000 to 10th place, plus the money that you get at each race. Now, Rod Fuller lurking just outside in the number 11 spot. He's not here this weekend. We'll see him next week in Dallas. So there are the points right now, 80 separating the top 3, basically 4 rounds of racing. We get ready now for Clay Millican. He'll be in the left lane. Scott Coletta over in the right lane. And let's give you an idea where everybody is right now in the qualifying order here in session number 3. Tony Schumacher, the only 440 race car. And look at the bump, or the split, the top half. You got to be at a 456, Mike.
Track conditions are very good out there. We're seeing some great runs, not only yesterday, but so far in this first session today.
In fact, Scott Coletta has a 458. And it's only good enough for the number 9 spot. Luigi Novelli on the bump right now at 4.95 seconds. Scott Wise, Mitch King outside looking in. And as we have cloud cover, which is great news for anyone trying to make their way into the field or improve their position. Millican, the number 14 qualifier, of course, a few years ago, had that wonderful incident. We'll talk more about that with Doug Herbert. There is Scott Coletta. Let's talk a little bit about the weather since we have the cloud cover.
Well, normal temperature here this time of year is about 75 degrees with low humidity. That's not the case today. 81 degrees. Look at that water grain. Anything over 100, that's an accurate measurement that the crew chiefs like to use. Anything over 100 is a lot of moisture in the air. Track temperature 106 degrees. Still, they can make the horsepower. The key is going to be the track.
Clay Millican punches his way into the 50 zone, 4.59 at 319 miles an hour. That'll move Clay into the number 10 spot right behind Scott Coletta. Coletta does not improve as we take another look at the run.
Well, watch Scott Coletta. He was trying to improve. He entered the session in number 7 qualifying position. He's been bumped to number 9, trying to step that up and apply that clutch, but it goes into tire smoke, and he'll have to get another shot in the last session today.
Dave Reeve?
It was an important run, too. Had a chance to talk to Mike Klober and Lance Larson, the crew chiefing effort on Clay Millican's car. They said they've been struggling pretty heavily, and they're just creeping up on it a little bit, so that number's certainly going to make them very happy as they try to win one here in their new team owner, Kenny Koretsky's home track.
That's right. Koretsky has about 300 guests here this weekend, as he is from nearby here in Pennsylvania. And he's talking already. He doesn't even have the helmet off. Nothing new with Clay there. All right, let's find out more on this Ron Capps situation. Gary Geargerald is caught up with Ray Alley.
Well, the man who, of course, relays the information for all of the NHRA decisions to the teams is Ray Alley. And, Ray, you were in a difficult spot, obviously, last night in the situation regarding Ace McCullough, Ron Capps. That team emphatically thought that they were entitled to another opportunity to run. Can you tell us why they weren't allowed that opportunity?
Primarily, they're not allowed that opportunity because the policy of NHRA has always been that even if a timing system malfunctions or anything of that sort, that we just don't allow substitute runs. And I know they feel that that's unfair, and it's unfortunate that and I understand why they feel that way, but that's the policy, and we have to adhere to that because there are too many instances when that argument could be made, and there are curfew issues, there are issues with the fact that when they would run, it's at a different time. When the other cars ran, the track may be better, and it's not fair to the other competitors. Those are the primary reasons.
Do you feel like they had a good case?
I have to say that I feel that they had a case, but the fact is there was oil on the racetrack. I support Rick Stewart in the fact that I don't believe that oil was there before they ran, and I will tell you also we could not find any oil coming out of that race car. But the fact is we couldn't find any oil coming out of their other car, with Bazemore's car, the previous round, and I don't believe for a minute that all of the eyes, especially their people and ours, would have missed that much oil on the racetrack. And it's unfortunate, but that's the way it has to be.
I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
You're right, Gary.
And as they finish up, you saw the pair of 4:60 elapsed times turned in by Doug Herbert and David Baca. Doug stays number 3, David number 8 in the qualifying order. Now, while they're coasting on out, gives us a chance to talk about our schedule tomorrow on ESPN2 and ESPN2 HD. Right here from Reading, we'll have NHRA Today, presented by Lucas Oil, at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And then 3 hours of final elimination starting at 4 Eastern, a little earlier than usual. The Toyo Tires NHRA Nationals. For more, all you have to do is log on to ESPN.com. And as we come back to the starting line, we get ready for Corey McLenathan and Larry Dixon. And for Larry Dixon, obviously, the championship is on his mind. For Corey McLenathan, another issue. We've got the Budweiser Shootout coming up in a few weeks at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and only the top 7 are locked in, and Corey's in that battle.
Yeah, right now he's number 8. The number 8 qualifying position based on your points is basically a lottery that they draw from in Las Vegas. He wants to get in that top 7 to be guaranteed a spot in the shootout, not have to depend on his luck.
And the guy who was the lucky draw last year was Larry Dixon. He got into the shootout through the draw. Let's go back to Indy because it was a big moment for Larry Dixon, snapping Tony Schumacher's win streak at 3 in a row. And there you saw it at the big go. And there's his family.
Yeah. Last one.
So let's take a look at the top fuel points, and you can see we talked a little bit about it. Larry has only 4 rounds of racing, 20 points per round. Of course, the reason we get odd numbers, we had that question earlier this year on the Fram Pit Report, is because of qualifying points. It starts at 8 and then drops down all the way down to 1. So that's how we get the odd numbers. But right now, 4 rounds of racing separate the top 3.
key there is 4 rounds. That's what this team's looking to do. Larry Dixon, Dick LaHaye always concentrate on being able to make this car make 4 good runs on Sunday to get their odds of winning the race.
This is the first of our last 3 in a row stretch. We go Reading, Dallas, and then Chicago. And Larry was quoted in this week as saying, if we can cut 40 points off that stretch, have 40 to go with 2 races left, we feel we're in the hunt.
And that's just 2 rounds of racing, and he's got a very good car. It's definitely capable of doing that, but so does Tony Schumacher. Doug Coletta's right there. It's not going to be easy. Those are 3 very good cars running for the championship right now.
Goes 4.55. He improves. He had a 4.56 coming in as his best. He's now into the number 5 spot ahead of Doug Coletta. No help for Larry Dixon. You saw the wisp of tire smoke, and Larry pulled out of it. He'll stay number 2.
The situation, I mean, track conditions vary from session to session, and right now what we're seeing in top fuel, that right lane is getting some tire smoke when they're trying to apply that clutch. Usually about a second to a second and a half into the run, you see the car going to tire shake, loses that contact area, smokes the tires. Larry knows he's not going to improve. Shut it off. Let's make the adjustments and come back and try to get it down the track in that final session.
So are you saying you're seeing some difference in the lanes?
At this point. Now remember, we see this all the time, and things can change as we go along, and I bring this up because of Ron Capps coming up. He wants these good track conditions to try to be able to get into the show.
And Capps is scheduled to run in the right lane, and that is yet to come. Burnouts of Morgan Lucas in the left lane, and that man right there, Tony Schumacher.
Well, this will be a test for the right lane because Alan Johnson's always very aggressive on his setup, but he also knows how to read the racetrack, and normally he can get it down the racetrack in pretty adverse conditions. He spun the tires in the final round at Indy last week. They felt that was just a missed opportunity because actually the semifinal set that up when they dropped the cylinder, had ignition problems, lost lane choice in the final. He set the car up to run good, but what happened is it picked the front end up and hit the wheelie bar too hard, which unloads the rear tires, and that's why they felt it spun the tires in that final round matchup with Larry Dixon.
And that's why everybody wants lane choice. Gives you a great example. Right now, you look into the eyes of Tony Schumacher. He is a new dad for the 3rd time. Jacqueline was born Thursday morning. Anthony and Michael, her brothers. And best to Mom Kara and everyone back home watching.
Look at crew chief Jim Dupuis right there doing a good job this week, and this car made 2 very nice runs yesterday. He's probably going to try to do the same thing, maybe improve a little bit. He's in that left-hand lane. Maybe he'll try to step up a little bit and see what that lane will hold.
Well, you saw the cylinder out on Tony's car, and he still runs a 458. Morgan goes 455. Neither will improve. They'll stay 1st and 4th, but that is significant going into race day. I mean, if you can run a 58 with a drop cylinder.
Yeah, I mean, that car was, I mean, that cylinder out for a long time, and it was pretty amazing. He had very good numbers early, and Morgan Lucas, though, he makes another very nice pass, gets it down to the finish line, and runs that 455 at over 322 miles per hour.
So as they make the turn at the far end, we will shift gears and get ready for Funny Car, because Ron Capps will be the first pair out. And look at him. He knows what's at stake, his championship hopes. They have to get into the 16-car field, or else the chase for them is over. Plus, we've got everybody else that's involved in the chase, and that includes the 13-time champ, John Force, the rookie, Robert Hight, and the man who's leading the points right now, Gary Scelzi. If you're not... You're on board with Ron Capps here at the Toyo Tires Tires NHRA Nationals, third qualifying session for Funny Car. But for Ron Capps, if you're just tuning in, it is one of 2 chances remaining to get into the 16-car field for race day tomorrow.
You know, it's a situation where crew chiefs watch the racetrack, they watch the runs. Andy Ace McCullough, I'm sure, was watching Top Fuel, especially their teammate Tony Schumacher. Saw a lot of cars not able to get down that right-hand lane, spinning the tires out there. Tony Schumacher got down it, but if you notice, he dropped the cylinder. Probably what happened there is they slowed that clutch down so it wouldn't smoke the tires, takes away the load on the engine, and puts the cylinder out. Andy Ace McCullough's seen that, probably has an idea what Alan Johnson did. He may have to do the same thing. Let's get it running good early and fast, then we may have to back it out to the middle to make sure this car goes down the track.
Now, Jack Wyatt was scheduled to be in the left lane. He is not running this session. And maybe the viewer at home who doesn't know the policy, why don't they get a choice of lane?
Because you alternate in lanes, and that's luck of the draw at the beginning. When you start out in the left-hand lane, you move to the right, left, right for all 4 sessions.
So he'll be back in the left lane in the final session. Don Schumacher, he is nervous as well. You can breathe a sigh of relief. Ron Capps, 4.85 seconds puts you number 10. Now it becomes the next issue. Can you punch your way into the top half of the field and have lane choice come Sunday? Everybody on the Brood team knows they'll be around for race day. And as we said, the pressure is off, at least momentarily.
That's a nice job by the team. I mean, Ed McCullough put a nice setup on that race car, ran some good numbers early like we talked about, and probably took a little bit out of it right about there to make sure it didn't spin the tires. It did keep all 8 cylinders lit. He's not in the top half of that 485, but it'll keep him in the show, which is what you want to do. Next session, hopefully he's still got some cloud cover and they can try to step that thing up and get in the top half of the field. Boy.
Let's check in with Gary.
Sure. And with Tony Schumacher as Ron Capps comes bailing out of the car, maybe we can get both of them here together. Tony, you put a punctuation mark here on the Top Fuel. You lost a cylinder, but you're still running a high 50 number. As a proud new papa, we should add. Certainly, any concerns at all about race day conditions, and you start thinking ahead to tomorrow and what it may offer?
No, I think we're going to be just fine. Alan Johnson and the whole Army team are really good at this racetrack. We put a hole out. We'll go back and take a look at it. Usually, it's a pretty easy fix. We had a blower belt that had been stripped off, so something was wrong. Either the blower had seized up, something malfunctioned. We'll be able to go back. We got an awful lot of parts here. Obviously, the U.S. Army and the rest of the guys that are on our team give us those parts, and we got what it takes. When we were worried about Capps here getting shut off last night, it was great to see him get in as a teammate here.
Boy, after all the drama that he went through last night, and now his team comes up here and he pumps a fist as they come by, how much of a sense of relief are you experiencing right now?
As my dad used to say, I know Alan Johnson and Tony, we're going to go out and stretch all the wrinkles out of the track. But just a great job. I mean, a Brute guy, somebody you can count on, and that epitomizes Ace and our guys. I mean, it's epitomized. Is that a good word for that? Okay.
That's a great word. Yeah.
3 syllables. But, you know, it's unfortunate what happened.
I think it's 4 syllables, by the way.
Where'd I go to school? It's such a relief right now. It's not solid in, but at least we got a shot. And I just hate seeing Ace like that. It's hard enough to run these cars and tune them, and driving's the easy part sometimes, but don't need added pressure.
Good job. They're in. Big sigh of relief down here.
Don't care how many syllables, he's in. That's all that matters for Ron Capps and his team. We've got to take commercial break. Stay with us. We've still got more. Third session of Funny Car as you ride one more time. Watch when he hits the chutes, how he comes forward in the cockpit. Stay with us.
Get a Wendy's Junior Cheeseburger Deluxe with the cool, crisp toppings of your choice for just 99 cents every day. If you're eating somewhere else, you might as well eat your dollar. Tender, juicy, hot off the grill. Great food for a great price. The 99-cent Wendy's Junior Cheeseburger Deluxe. Do Wendy's, and for just 99 cents, do what tastes right.
Somebody's got some autographs as we're here at the Toyo Tires NHRA Nationals. It is race 19 of 23 on the NHRA Powerade Drag Racing Series, Maple Grove Raceway in Reading, Pennsylvania. I'm Marty Reed, along with Mike Dunn, Dave Reef, Gary Gerald, and our entire ESPN2 crew. Glad that you're with us. And let's get you caught up now on Funny Car, as we've already seen Ron Capps push his way in the field. But let's go back to session number 1 yesterday. Tom Tommy Johnson really making a statement, saying, fellas, I might be a player this weekend. He was 4.86 seconds on the elapsed time at 3:11, and then he comes back in qualifying session number 2 alongside of Gary Scelzi. Scelzi in the left lane will go number 1, 4.76 at 3:22, but TJ right behind him at a 4.79. And then earlier today in session number 3, just a few moments ago,
Mike Ashley just trying to get used to these funny cars coming over from the Pro Mod class, got her all kinds of sideways as the clutch started to fly and moved it over towards the wall.
Take a look at the championship. Now you understand why it was so critical for Ron Capps to qualify, because the top 5 are separated by less than 60 points. Remember, you get 20 for a round win. Come down onto the starting line. There is Eric Medlin, the man who's won 3 of the last 5. Tony Pedregon will be over in the left lane. And of course, there is Dickie Venables. It's good to see him with his pants on. Literally had him blown off. If you didn't see the video back at Indianapolis, 2nd-degree burns. But Dickie doing fine now. So the burnouts are complete, and let's take you back to Indianapolis one more time, because this was a very frightening moment, and that's what we meant about Dickie losing his pants, because they just literally were blown off by the 7,000 horses. And we're going to catch up with Dickie afterwards and ask him how he's doing and give you an update on his condition. Cody Pendergrass is doing fine. He's still on the front of the car. This was the video and the aftermath. Cody had a chipped tooth. They fixed it that night. There he is, back in action. None the worse for wear. And there he goes, doing his job.
The situation where the throttle linkage just hung up when Cody went to lift that body and opened that throttle wide open, and 7,000 horsepower, that car is just going to take off, because you cannot disengage the clutches on a fuel funny car. So it's a centrifugal clutch. Once the RPM comes up high enough, it engages that clutch, and it just took off, and luckily nobody was seriously hurt.
This time everything goes smoothly. There's Eric's numbers, currently in the number 7 position.
Eric Medlin, one of the hottest drivers on the circuit. He fell a little bit off at Indy, went to the 2nd round where he just barely got beat by Frank Pedregon and went on to runner-up finish, but that car's been run very well.
Boy, and neither car, as they both smoke the tires and coast on through. So no help for Tony Pedregon or Eric Medlin. They'll stay 4th and 7th, respectively. And let's go to the far end, check in with Gary Gerould.
Well, Robert Hight, since Indianapolis, it has been just an amazing week and a half for you. You started out, you took the Super Comp cars and the Forest girls, Courtney and Brittany, up to Fallon, Nevada, had motor problems. You drove the rig, had to go to Las Vegas, get it repaired. You went to Southern California. Your daughter, Autumn, had her first birthday party. Then you find out the Jimmy Wingo problems, his family involved in a traffic accident. You're going to work the clutch. Are you exhausted at this point?
I'm a little tired, but you know what? Every team does this and goes through this. When you love drag racing, you work hard, do whatever it takes. And, you know, this is what John's done for years. He used to drive the truck himself, and, you know, that's what he wants his guys to do. Eric Medlin, he works just as hard. I'm glad Jimmy Wingo's back. It was an unfortunate deal, but we've got him back here today, and we'll be back on track.
Good to see you here, and good to see you with a smile on your face. Get some rest.
I'm going to. Thanks.
And as we get ready, there is Whit Bazemore as they are waiting for the crews at the starting line to tell him to fire up the 8,000 horsepower. He will be running a single in this run, because Frank Pedregon will not make the call. They're already solid in the field, and they're saving some budget. Let's talk a little bit about college football, as we've got, it's presented by Polaroid, and it's tonight at 7:45 Eastern time on ESPN and ESPN HD. 8th ranked Florida State versus the 17th ranked Boston College Eagles. And that's all you need to know, because we've got college football all fall on ESPN and ESPN2. And that's what we're waiting for. Eric Medlin to be towed off at the far end of the racetrack, and now they have fired Whit's car. as Witt completes the burnout, you know, if you were with us on NHRA Today last week, Graham Light said that they were going to hold a special winner's circle presentation here at Reading, and this is what happened yesterday. They brought the entire backdrop from Indianapolis, brought all the winners out, and Steve being Steve gives Graham Light a peck on the cheek, and there they are. Let's go to Dave Reeve.
All right, thank you, guys. Marty, Steve Johnson still clutching that trophy that Matt Smith gave him 1 week ago with you on set at NHRA Today. And of course, yesterday, Steve, you had your picture taken. You finally got to, well, celebrate a little bit. Does it feel like you've won the U.S. Nationals yet?
Well, it does. We have this little outside connection, you might say. It's actually a new little sponsor that's helping us out. But first of all, Matt didn't give it to us. We earned this thing, and I'm very, very proud of that. The Harleys were real tough, and if you can get around the Harleys, you did a good job. But Shane and I and all the guys at the shop, everybody, it's a real clutch win, you know, and I'm going to hang on to it for a long time. So I already forgot your question.
The response, though, I forgot my question too. I'm moving on to the next one. Let's talk about the changes that you have made. The Harley-Davidsons have also made. What have we done to the tire to try to not make that happen again?
Well, there's a quote-unquote staging disc, and the staging disc keeps the motorcycle as much as possible in the beam. So in theory, the beam's going to touch the leading edge of the motorcycle tire. It's a Mickey Thompson little front tire. Well, when it goes back, the staging beam gives it another couple of inches where the beam can hopefully get it before it triggers off, say, you know, the rear of the fairing or the front of the fairing. And we need it. That doesn't sound real good to you guys, but the bottom line is we want the beam to catch the front of the Mickey Thompson tire, and if it catches the back part of the front tire, fine. At the U.S. Nationals, it didn't. It probably caught the fairing.
Fans have been killing this guy this week, and everybody knows the name Steve Johnson now.
Yeah, as we mentioned, he'll be down in the history books for a long time with that result. Now, while you guys were wrapping up, let's go back and show you what happened to Whit Bazemore's run.
Right-hand lane, he had some good numbers early, but then it looks like right through the middle, he started spinning the tires and just got out of the throttle because he knew it wasn't going to improve. Key is here. You get the car moving, accelerating. The track looks very good at this point, but then as you start giving it the clutch through the middle, it's a little bit suspect in both lanes right now, and he starts spinning the tires as it traverses over those bumps, puts a cylinder out. He lifts before the finish line because he knew he wasn't going to improve on his qualifying run.
Now, as we get ready for Gary Scelzi and Tommy Johnson Jr., wait for the burnouts, I got a question to ask you. They come through the water box. Gary will be in the right lane. TJ will be over in the left lane. And let's quickly get a note from Gary Gerould.
Tommy Johnson, right after Indianapolis 2 weeks ago, had to go into the doctors, and he had a basal cell sunspot removed from his forehead. They burned it off. Took about 4 or 5 stitches in his forehead. He was a little concerned about whether it would heal in time to be able to get the helmet on and off effectively this weekend here at Reading. But he said everything's come along great. In fact, his wife, Melanie Tropsel, took the stitches out night before last. Helmet's on today. He's doing good.
Yeah, he's doing fine. 4.86 and a 4.79. And there is your new points leader for the first time in his funny car career. A wild thing, and since 1993, funny car points leader after Indy has always won the championship. I want to go back to what you were talking about. We're starting to see tire smoke in both lanes. This is usually the opposite of what happens. Normally, as the session goes on, it gets better. Now, even with the cloud cover, we're seeing more tire smoke. Why?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, it could be that the teams are, you know, we're seeing cars that are already in the show. They're trying to see what this track will hold. It looks like, you know, based on what we saw with Top Fuel, the track is pretty good in the middle. It's not great, but it's good. You can run the big number. Maybe some of the funny cars, they don't transfer the weight as well as the Top Fuel dragsters. They're just spinning the tires maybe a little bit more in the middle.
Problem for Gary Scelzi. He is low for this session. 4.81 seconds. 316 miles an hour. He stays obviously in the #1 spot from last night's 476, but that is a very important run for that team.
That's what you want to do because you're going to be racing probably in similar conditions tomorrow. Gary Scelzi, crew chief Mike Neff, nice setup on that car, put a cylinder out just before the finish line, but it doesn't matter because he had that momentum going. You can do that tomorrow, 4 runs in a row. You're going to have a good shot at winning.
All right, we've got to take a commercial break. When we come back, it'll be time for Pro Stock Motorcycles. We'll get our first look at that new setup on the front wheel for the Harleys and Steve Johnson Suzuki. There you get a bit of a look at it. As a lot of the teams are going to be adding that piece, I think, as Nobody wants to have what happened back at Indy.
This guy's about to find.
You can go hard or go home and watch TV. You got a choice to make. So what's it gonna be? So what's it gonna be? You got a choice to make. If you really want it, you can go hard or go home. You can work real hard. You got a choice to make. Don't stop, don't quit. You can go hard or go home.
And we're back to final qualifying here. Pro Stock Motorcycle, session number 4 at the Toyo Tires NHRA Nationals. Michael Phillips on the bump spot right now, 7.244. Matt Cadera trying to punch his way in. Matt, his best so far is a 7.26.
Only 0.02 of a second off of getting into the field. Michael Phillips obviously wants to try to step up and get off that number 16 spot.
His third. And Dave Conley picks up his first round win in a hole shot, a 008 light to an 040 for V Gaines. So for Dave Conley, he picks up his 10th reaction time win of the year. For V, it's 5th reaction time loss.
Boy, this kid can drive. 008, that's 0.8 of a second from perfect, 0.9 of a second from red light and throwing it all away. But he's done this a number of times this year. Just a tremendous job. And you give him 0.03 of a second advantage off the starting line, he's going to win.
The DNQ 2 weeks ago at Memphis just basically wiped his chances of the championship away, so he is going for the U.S. Nationals title and could play the role of spoiler. We get ready now for Larry Morgan as he comes to the line in the left lane against Richie Stevens, another one of our members from the New Orleans area, and Richie's house underwater. More on that in a moment. Look at this crowd here at Maple Grove Raceway for the final qualifying session here, the Toyo Tires Nationals. And let's get you caught up on what's happened in Top Fuel here in session number 4. Because Scott Wise was outside looking in, so was Mitch King. Mitch was not a factor. Novelli.
The 51st U.S. Nationals.
Indianapolis. It's the biggest race of the year. Scelzi says you're no one till you've won Indy.
And Gary Scelzi still has a chance as he has advanced through first round action of Funny Car. You're listening to Jake Coffin.
If you're not eating Wendy's 99-cent chicken nuggets, you'd be better off eating your dollar. Only Wendy's gives you 5 all-white meat crispy chicken nuggets for just 99 cents every day.
Hey.
So tender, so juicy, so worth it. Do Wendy's, and for just 99 cents, do what tastes right.
Getting ready for the burnouts here. That's Corey McClenathan in the right lane. And Larry Dixon over in the left lane. More on this matchup, but let's go talk to Doug Herbert. He's with Gary.
Doug, 4 great runs right down the racetrack. How important is that consistency when you start thinking about tomorrow in eliminations?
I think it's real important. The car that has 4 good and consistent runs tomorrow is probably going to win the race. So we can be happier. Snap-on Tools car, everybody that helps out Redline Oil and Doug Herbert Performance. Wayne Dupree is doing a great job. Brissett, I mean, the team's really coming together. I'll tell you what, these last 5 races, I think we're gonna give them a little bit of a run here. We're out of winning the championship for this year, but you know what? We're gonna set the stage for next year is what our plan is.
Spoken like a true spoiler, Marty.
Thanks, Gary. Take a look at the best times. And we mentioned it. It's Melly and Doug, and then it drops down to Brandon, Clay Milligan, and Doug Foley here in this final Top Fuel session. And we get ready for Larry Dixon, who sat on pole 3 times so far in 2005. And Corey McClenathan, he became the first ever to dip into the 470 range at this very racetrack back in the 1992 race. And my question to you is, Dixon's number 2. He's got nothing to lose to go for it, but is there a 447 in that track right now?
Well, first of all, I don't think crew chief Dick LaHaye would even try to do that. I mean, he wants to get a combination right now that he can race with tomorrow. So he's going to go out there and read the track, and he's going to try. If he thinks the track will hold a 452, he's going to try to run a 454. That's just, I think, the way Dick LaHaye operates, and gives him a good idea of what he's going to be looking forward to tomorrow.
Well, must have been a 4:52, Mike, because he runs the 4:54, and that's the quickest run of the session. A 4:58 for Corey Mack. Neither one will improve. They'll stay second and sixth. Little puff of flames coming out of Corey's header pipes. Doesn't look like it's anything too serious, but what is that stream coming out of the back of Larry Dixon's car? Is that some fluid I saw?
It might be, Marty. This was a very good run. Very aggressive at the first 60 feet. 8:38 to 60 feet. Still carried it through for a 330-foot mark. Run 271 miles per hour at the 8th and just makes a nice pass.
Well, this will be interesting because Larry Dixon has 119 consecutive passes without any oil. And I thought I saw something, although that might be from an earlier run. So we'll check on that and we'll update you. And as we come back to the starting line, we'll get ready for Tony Schumacher and Morgan Lucas, our final pair here in Top Fuel. And we have gotten the word there was no oil on either racer at the other end of the track. So the streak stays intact for Larry Dixon. Now as Alan Johnson backs up his racer over in the left lane, let's talk about last year, because remember the last 5 races, this is where Tony Schumacher really sealed the deal, Mike, with those 3 wins.
But the other stat you brought up in our production meeting, Marty, that I liked is so far this year, all of his 5 wins came at tracks he did not win at last year. So Larry Dixon's got to be liking that, even though Larry Dixon's never been able to win here at Reading. So we're setting the stage for tomorrow. Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, Tony won here last year, so if everything holds true, he won't win because, like you said, he hasn't won. He hasn't repeated on the same track from a year ago.
I'll tell you a guy that can win, though, if he keeps running the way he is Morgan Lucas. That car so far has been very, very good. A 456, a 454, and a 455. If they can run another number like that on this run, they're going to feel real good about the chances tomorrow.
Well, take a look at the numbers. Tony Schumacher goes low, 4.52 seconds, 3:15. And Morgan right there again, a 4:55 at 3:22.
Good job by both teams. Both cars have been down the racetrack all 4 runs. But I tell you, Morgan's been very, very consistent. That car looks awfully good, but Tony Schumacher, what can you say? Alan Johnson, right side of your screen. He knows how to run this racetrack here. You saw, boy, Morgan really got sideways just about half track. Maybe it cost him 100th or 2, but still a great job.
9th pole this year, 5th in a row for Tony Schumacher. Take a look at the matchups as we show you our Top Fuel ladder presented by Lucas Oil. It'll be Scott Wise with the unenviable task of trying to take Tony out in round number 1. Take a look at the other side, and they got some interesting matchups. There's Dixon and Doug Coletta on a collision course for the 2nd round. Huge implications in the points championship chase. Mitch King, Luigi Novelli do not qualify for the 16-car field. Dave, let's talk a little funny car.
Down near the funny car lanes, we're getting ready to burn out with Paul Lee, but I'm standing by with the U.S. Nationals. Winner of the U.S. Nationals, Del Worsham, who also collected the big payday from the Skull Showdown. Del, at what point, you said it really wasn't an Indy, what point did it finally hit you what you had accomplished?
Well, you know, once we got home, you know, and things kind of set in and everybody kept calling, and then finally the calls ended, and I looked at my wife and I was like, there it is. You know, we finally, it's probably 5 or 6 days later, I finally realized what we had done, and it was definitely very exciting.
From the highest of highs there, you come back to a racetrack where you've had one of your lows, a very scary incident. How often do you think about that, and is it easy to put it out of your mind when you come back to a place?
Yeah, you know, actually, I've had 3 major explosions at this racetrack. One of them was huge, and 2 more were just fires. But, you know, we have a good car, and I know that. And I know it's just circumstantial that it happens to be here when it's been blowing up. So other than you talking about it, I really haven't thought too much about it. And I signed a lot of pictures from fans to take pictures of it here.
Certainly indeed. Blue Max coming up, the nostalgia funny car that he and his dad put together. That's going to be on the racetrack coming up in one of our next couple of races, Marty.
All right, thanks, Dave. And there was the end result of the crash a couple of years ago when the body literally just erupted, and Del was a little bit woozy getting out of that car.
This was just a huge explosion right here. Blows the body completely off the car. The rear tires were off the ground going through the lights. Just a big-time explosion.
Getting ready for Paul Lee and Jack Wyatt. Neither car qualified for the 16-car field. Got to run quicker than 4.927. Not going to happen for either one. Paul Lee had some decent numbers coming out of the gate, but by the 1,000-foot mark had to click it off, and he will not make the field. Neither will Jack Wyatt. We've got to take a break, and we've got more funny car action. Can you tell we're in Amish country? Eric Medlin will be coming to the lanes, as well as Phil Burkhart and the man who won all that big cash it in. We're getting ready for Cruz Pedregon and Phil Burkhart here at the Toyo Tires NHRA Nationals, and we will tell you as the body comes down, we're going to let you enjoy the sights and sounds of the strip. But we have to remind you, Cruz Pedregon is not in the field. He's just been bumped out. Gary Densham. Densham is on the bump right now, 4.887. Sit back and enjoy.
Hoping to make the show, missing it in, trying to get back in. Why the Cruz Pedregon with Garrett Edge, we're going to race tomorrow. Do not hold up. For Cruz Pedregon, it is not good enough. He needed to run a 488. He runs at best a 492. So since Wes Cerny and Cruz Pedregon parted company, 2 races have come and gone, Indy and Reading, and Cruz has failed to qualify for both.
Car was just soft right as soon as he hit the throttle, did not run the numbers to the nose of the clutch that's coming in there. Didn't look like it dropped any cylinders, it just was weak all the way down, and as a result, he'll not be racing tomorrow.
And I wonder if he is second-guessing that decision for Cerny and he to part ways. As, there you see him at the far end of the racetrack. Back down trackside, we get ready for Robert Hight in the right lane. Number 2 in the points by 1 coming into this event to Gary Scelzi. Tim Wilkerson, number 11 in the points, trying to punch his way back into the top 10. Let's find out about what's going on in Cruz's head right now. He's at the far end with Gary.
Cruz, as you deal with this disappointment of missing back-to-back shows, we have to ask you about not having Wes Cerny. Any regrets about the amicable parting a couple of events ago?
No, because we know it's going to be better in the long run, and for sure it's hurting us now. There's no question about it. Anybody can figure that out. But for the long, we're looking long haul. We're looking at down the road, you know, where we're going to be at in 2006 and beyond. And you know, I didn't think we'd stumble like this. Obviously, that wasn't really in the plans. I figured we'd pick it up and go on. But hey, these things happen. These cars are very temperamental, and you know, hey, good teams, hey, they find a way to get it done. And you know, I feel bad for Advance Auto Parts. They've stuck with me, and but hey, I'm a champion. Anything I've ever raced or driven, I've won, and I'm going to have a pretty good meeting and kind of clear the air here and figure out why these guys aren't getting the job done. And hey, I'm not afraid to make changes, and if it's going to require changes, we'll keep making them. But whatever it takes. But hey, we're a little down, but we're not out. Thanks, Chris.
Robert Hight goes 4.82 seconds, quickest run of the session. 314 miles an hour moves him into the number 7 spot. Tim Wilkerson, a 4.99, will not improve him. He'll stay number 15 with his prior run of 4.88 seconds.
Robert Hight makes his best run of the week in good conditions, good car, right down the middle of the track. Moves up a couple spots, and that'll make his crew chief Jimmy Prock happy.
I haven't said.
And as they push off at the far end of the racetrack, engine fires for Ron Capps. He's safely in the field, but he's number 11 right now. And can he get into the top half now that he's in the show? Come on back and find out. NHRA Nationals, you're on board with the likes of Ron Capps. As you look up inside the cockpit, he'll be over in the left lane. Del Worsham will be over in the right lane as the body comes down.
Big run for Ron Capps. Missing out last night in that evening session. They obviously would like to get this thing down the track and have a good baseline for tomorrow's eliminations.
Well, and Del can say the same thing. He's number 9. They both want to get in the top half. Boy, 2 good, strong runs. Take a look at the numbers. 4.82 seconds for Ron Capps. It puts him in the number 8 spot. And Del Worsham actually goes quicker. He runs a 4.83. But it will not improve on his run from last night, so he slips to number 10.
This is a very good job for Ron Capps, Ed McCullen, and the rest of that team. That car, look at how straight that thing was. That car did not bobble at all going down the racetrack as we go on board. Very good run for these conditions, and still moved up into the top half of the field.
And as the body gets lifted at the far end of the racetrack over in Del Worsham's lane, and we already showed you the misfortunes that Del has had at this racetrack. It looks like right after the run it let go, but at least this one didn't blow apart. And look at Del, he can actually smile about it because he didn't get the sense knocked out of him like he did a couple of years ago. So while they clean this mess up, there is the 13-time champ, John Force. He'll be in the right lane up against Tony Bartone when we come back to Reading.
You're going to put together a team to play.
John Force's Castrol DTX Mustang here at the Toyo Tires NHRA Nationals. Final qualifying for Funny Car. John will be over in the right lane. Tony Bartone has been very good with a 483. That's only good enough, though, for the number 11 spot. Believe it or not, that's the kind of performance we're seeing.
Racetrack here in Maple Grove's always been very good. Even when the sun's out, it's very tight rubber out there, as we've been seeing with the times.
John runs it through at 4.86 at 316 miles an hour. It will be no help. He'll stay number 5 from last night's 480 run. And Tony Bartone falls off a bit to a 492. He'll stay in the number 11 spot. So while they roll it on out at the far end of the racetrack, gives us a chance to talk about tonight on ESPN. We've got a meeting of 2 top teams in the ACC this season. Bobby Bowden leads Florida State at Chestnut Hill for a showdown with Boston College, making its ACC debut. College football primetime presented by Polaroid on ESPN Saturday at 7:45 p.m. Eastern. And then Florida State, Boston College. It's available also in high definition on ESPN HD. And you're looking into the face of Tony Pedregon. I couldn't say the eyes. We couldn't see the eyes because of the dark visor. He'll be over in the right lane. Eric Medlin in the left. There is Eric Medlin after the burnout. Winner of 3 of the last 5 races, has punched his way into the championship chase, the number 5 man in the points. Tony Pedregon, not going to be a contender this year, but Dave, you've got more on Tony?
You bet. Continuing follow-up over the Indianapolis incident. Did talk with both Cody and Dickey about the procedures and the things that they go through. Do they think there needs to be changes, and are they approaching their jobs in any different way? They said that is absolutely wrong. They don't think that they're going to change it at all. It was just an incident where awareness needed to become, and that's exactly how they feel about it. Though they did also tell me that they're working with John Mitchell out in Montana, trying to come up with some sort of a titanium piece that they can fabricate to put around that throttle linkage area so the body won't get hung up on it in this case, or in the case of a funny car actually hitting the wall. There will be no way for that throttle to then be locked open. So they look for that maybe in the next couple races, possibly as early as the Chicago event.
Well, Mike, you've mentioned that if a few changes were made on these cars, you wouldn't even have to raise the body anymore and go underneath.
I mean, that would be a consideration. I mean, they activate a lot of systems. I mean, they would have to make some changes, but, I mean, it could be done. And obviously, that would alleviate that ever happening after a burnout, lifting that body up.
Two good runs. A 4.78 for Eric Medlin, the quickest run of the session. Moves him up to number 2, right behind Gary Scelzi. And a 4.83 for Tony. He'll stay number 5. Take another look at this.
Good side-by-side runs, but this is a fantastic run by Eric Medlin. I mean, when we saw Robert Hight run that 4.82, I thought, well, that's probably about as good as we're going to see. Maybe somebody might sneak in an 81 or an 80 flat. But how about that? A 4.78 at 317 miles per hour. Crew Chief John Medlin. Eric keeping that thing stuck right down the middle and make a great pass.
Yeah, look at the team. They said, whoo, hey, that even surprised them. Hey, let's check in on the top fuel action back in the pits with Dave Reef.
Fresh off another U.S. Nationals championship, Larry Dixon, you come to Reading and have to refocus and get excited about the last part of the year. How do you shelve, how do you forget about what happened in Indy and focus now on everything that you have to get done now?
Well, we know what we need to do when we come in here. You don't get yourself caught up reading a whole bunch of headlines. We like the coverage, you know, but we want everybody else to read it except us. You know, we got to come into this race really focused. Just you try to make real good runs in qualifying, and you hope to make 4 real good runs on race day. So, you know, we've got ourselves in pretty good position. There's only one person that qualified better than us this week, so that's a good start to the weekend. We'll go tomorrow and stand on the gas, see how the middle of that car will do.
Have you had a chance to look at the ladders yet? There's a potential round 2 matchup with Doug Colittle, one of the guys you're chasing in this championship chase. Do you look too far ahead?
I think that if I did, we raced Zizzo first round, he'd probably slap me if I was looking at second round, and deservedly so. They're a real good team over there. We've got to go down the racetrack first round. If we both make it, yeah, then there's a matchup. But, I mean, if we're a championship contending car, then we should be able to beat everybody. So you just got to go out there with that kind of attitude, stand on the gas, like I said, and see how it all pans out. I mean, you can't get caught up. If you try an armchair like race, then we should leave the cars parked. But, you know, Chris Berman, he's on your guys' network. That's why we play the game.
I wonder what the Schwami would say.
And remember that Larry Dixon only trails in the championship chase by 79 points as we started this race week, and that's 4 rounds of racing. We get ready now for Whit Bazemore in the left lane, Frank Pedregon over in the right lane. Both cars have tire smoke and click it off. I think everybody saw that 478 and said, oh, let's turn up the wick. What do you think?
I don't know. It's a little bit of a surprise. I think both cars have been going down the track pretty good, except for Whit's been having trouble spinning the tires out in the middle of the track. But Frank's a little bit of a surprise.
Let's go back and take another look.
Watch both cars. They kind of washed out when you see a cylinder out on Frank's on the left-hand side, and that washed the car out, and then probably went into some tire shake and tire smoke. Whit's been having a little bit of trouble. Usually he's been getting farther down the track before he starts spinning the tires, so they'll have to definitely make some adjustments for tomorrow.
Well, we've got one more pair of floppers to head down the quarter mile. When we come back, it'll be Gary Scelzi and Tommy Johnson Jr. Stay with us. Don't go away.
Now's a great time to score a super wireless.
Driven to perform. To find your closest dealer, visit Toyo.com.
And as we get ready for the final cars to go down the track today here at the Toyo Tires NHRA Nationals, we'll talk about tomorrow on ESPN2 and ESPN2 HD. Remind you that we'll kick it off with NHRA Today, presented by Lucas Oil at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And then 3 hours of final eliminations, 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. You're looking at Gary Scelzi. Right now, he is sitting on pole, and the only guy who can take it away from him is Tommy Johnson Jr., and Tommy's one of 3 cars that has run in the 470 range. Scelzi won this event last year from the number 5 spot. He has 3 poles prior this year, but he has never won any of those 3 races. 4.16 elapsed time. Quickest run of the session, so Scelzi takes it just a little bit better. And Gary, fourth #1 this year, as we mentioned, 40th of his career, and that includes both Top Fuel and Funny Car.
Man, how about Gary Scelzi? You talk about having a race car going into tomorrow's elimination. A 486, a 476, a 481, and another 476. He's got to feel good about his chance tomorrow. DJ had a good car yesterday with that 479 he ran last evening, but he has not been down the racetrack today.
And, of course, Gary will try and snap that streak now, because the other 3 times that he's had pole this year, he has failed to seal the deal and win the event. But he's got Gary Dencham in the opening round tomorrow. Oh, and a second-round matchup with either Robert Hight or Ron Capps. Woo! Is the points battle going to take a different complexion by the end of the day?
Gary Scelzi, how good is a 476 under daytime conditions at Reading, Pennsylvania?
Well, it's pretty stout. When Medlin ran that 78, we thought, uh-oh, and Zippy went in the box again twice. He's got a handle on it here in qualifying. We need a handle on it tomorrow. And Lucas Oil and Matt Cohen Oakley and all them people, we love you. And keep your fingers crossed tomorrow, because we have to win tomorrow.
All right, and that's championship pressure we're talking about right now.
And he's saying that before he even gets a look at the matchups. He has no idea how important tomorrow is going to be. That's going to do it for us. It has been great qualifying. The race is going to be even better. We'll see you tomorrow. For Mike Dunn, Dave Reed, Gary Gerould, and our entire ESPN2 crew, I'm Marty Reed. Thanks so much for joining us here on the NHRA Powerade Drag Racing Series. Coming up next, it's the road trip to the Chicago Auto Show right here on ESPN2. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time for NHRA Today, presented by Lucas Oil. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. So long, everybody.